what happened this week. We called up the Austin Police Department and said, hey, we'd like to interview Art Acevedo, the police chief. They call right back and they say, yeah, he wants to come do it. He shows up just with one person in studio Thursday during the weekday show at my studios in South Austin and spent an hour with us. We're going to play about 12 minutes, some of the highlights of that hour-long interview. The whole thing's posted for free right there at Infowars.com. Now, the reason I had him on is we reach out to everybody, and he has actually done a few good things and some bad things. But he has been trying to interface with the community. A very charming, very intelligent individual, and he was telling me about the shows he listens to and how he likes my videos. And I was asking him questions about the films and the TV show, and he knew all about it, so he wasn't giving me a line of baloney. So that's interesting. That's coming up in the end of the next to last segment and the last segment. Some of the highlights with Art Acevedo, the Austin Police Chief. Let's go ahead and talk to Brett in Sacramento. Brett, you are on the air. Welcome.
Hi, Alex. My question is with regards to the Russia-Georgia situation and its connection to China. Quite some time ago, a couple of decades ago, Anatoly Golitsyn, I think I'm not sure how you pronounce his name.
That's right.
So a Soviet defector wrote New Lies for Old and Perestroika Deception, and as you know, he predicted the fall of the Soviet Union, etc. And he also suggested that the Sino-Soviet split
was false, and we've had General Benton Parton, who wrote the seminal war doctrine paper on the falsehood, the staged Sino-Soviet split between China and Russia.
Right, and he claimed that even though that may go on for decades, that eventually they would reunite and form a powerful alliance. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, they did that. They did that 2 years ago with a new agreement, and so that's actually what's happening. I mean, that's the nature of power. Is that Iran's bad, the U.S. is bad. Russia's corrupt, the United States is corrupt, England's corrupt, Germany's corrupt. I mean, read the Bible, read history, read common sense. Usually, elites get into control that are corrupt and bad. And so the New World Order, the corporatist, as Carol Quigley, the top political scientist at Georgetown, Bill Clinton's mentor, he was the historian with the Council on Foreign Relations and the Royal Institute of International Affairs. These are the real shadow governments of England and the U.S., and he said that this banking elite funds both sides. And so they fund the conflicts to make money on both sides. And so it's the ultimate monopoly game. The difference here is this is a clear escalation by the West, by NATO, by the U.S. against Russia. I mean, am I saying Putin's a good guy? No, I've made films about how he was caught blowing up his own apartment buildings when he was vice president as a pretext to launch a war in Chechnya and to be brought into office in a popular election. So I just report the cold, hard facts. Make what you want of them. It's not good for world stability to have this happening, this escalation with Russia. But that's what they need to then say, oh, we need a strong global government to stop this. And then they merge the U.S. and Russia, which is what they're politically wanting to do. So, yes, there's a lot more to it. Great points, Brett. Appreciate you calling. Let's go to Bill in Michigan. Bill, you are on the air. Thanks for holding.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
I pray for your safety every day, sir, and I hope that we can turn this thing around. But one thing we got to do, when we get control of this, we have got to get rid of these people with all the money. Sellers and some of these clowns. If we don't do it, Alex, in a year we're going to end up having to, or in 10 years our kids are going to have to.
Well, listen, let me comment on that. You know, you're saying basically arrest, get rid of the, quote, rich people. What the elites actually do throughout history is they go after. They always go after the middle class. They tell the poor people that the middle class is the elite. Somebody living in a one-room apartment making $1,000 a month or whatever, they think somebody living in a $1 million house is a rich elitist. And that's what the big banks did in 1917. This is all declassified now. They funded the Bolsheviks to overthrow the czars and then the middle class under them to bring in a system to control populations. And so we don't want a French Revolution here where anybody who's got any money gets their heads whacked off. We want to prosecute those that have engaged in crimes and certainly confiscate their ill-gotten wealth. But we do not want some type of purge going on like Pol Pot, which the U.S. funded. And Zbigniew Brzezinski, running this Russian situation, brags that that he helped them kill 2 million people. The U.S. helped Pol Pot, and they killed anybody who had glasses because that meant they were middle class. Very, very serious. Let's go to another call here. Let's go to George in Florida. You're on the air, George.
How you doing, Alex?
Good, sir. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, well, I'm getting ready to brace myself because Tropical Storm Faye, and I'm just warning the listeners in Florida, if you got to evacuate, take your guns, take your food, and have your Berkeys ready.
That's right. In every case now, the National Guard comes in if it's a bad hurricane and confiscates your firearms. And they even go into high and dry areas and confiscate your guns. They're now using the National Guard to do door-to-door gun confiscation in Illinois, according to NBC News. All part of the new freedom.
And yes, and like I say, I just grab my food supply, my guns, and I'm taken far away from Florida.
How bad is that thing that's supposed to hit there? How bad is it supposed to be?
Well, I'm predicting it might hit like Tarpon Springs, Dunedin, Florida, where the eye would hit.
Well, I was looking at those. I was looking at those tracks. They've got them all over the place. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, where I live, I'm where the surge would hit.
Yeah, well, you better get out of there then. Let's go ahead and talk to BL in Texas. BL, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex.
Welcome.
I wonder if you heard about Friday night's countdown. Democratic strategist Chris Kofinas called for the Democratic Party to deal with Jerome Corsi using extreme prejudice.
No, we have Dr. Corsi with the New York Times #1 bestseller, Abomination. We had one of the first interviews he did a few weeks ago. The New York Times attacked him for the interviews he's done with me. And I know I got attacked in the New York Times, but I was not aware of this extreme prejudice. For those that don't know, that is military terminology for killing him.
Of course, he was called the poster child for lies and smears who sold his soul to get this book published. And at the end of the diatribe with the guest host and Kofinas, the smirking Kofinas turned a serious face to the camera and called for the Democratic Party to deal with Corsi using extreme prejudice. Unbelievable.
I need to look up that definition, but BL, from memory, doesn't that term mean violence?
It's a CIA euphemism for assassination.
Yeah, that's the cover term they use.
Right. It's from spinning the news to outright lies 24/7.
Well, all of the mainline neocon followers listening who now realize Bush betrayed him and was bought and paid for by the New World Order, get ready for the Democrats, and then suddenly I'll be the darling of the right wing again. The left will hate me. No, I'm the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're patriots. We love liberty and freedom, and both parties are bought and paid for by the New World Order. 90% of the American people in Gallup polls want to control the borders. They say no. 75% don't want gun control. They give it to us. 80% don't want a war. They throw it in our face. Anything else, BL?
I'll do it.
Thank you. All right, we're going to come back with a blitz on the police state, the economy, and the Austin police chief in studio. Stay with us.